Listen, anytime, any place, anywhere, I'll fight you in your back garden. Like a dumb Klitschko, I'll beat you, you bum. You're a boss.
I want to unify. Is he up for the challenge? Like I said, I declare war. You know, this is not a battle, this is war because I want more than this.
Why am I sitting there like a spare dick away? While you are sitting in your mum's spare rooms, just tickling your bollocks.
Come and see me, baby. No more hiding, no more ducking, no more dodging, no more excuses. Let's make the fight happen. Let's see who's the best. I know I'm the best. Are you up for the test?
I'm through. Hey, put somebody else up and give me an interview. What are you talking about? You never give me a fair shake. HBO needs to fire you. You don't know shit about boxing. You ain't shit. You're not shit. I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.
Negative. I'm good. I beat Polly. I left with his belt and his girl.
Fucking was too fast. But it wasn't so much about it, was just that he was so fucking fast. Fast.
Amazingly fast.
Fucking amazingly fast. I was like, I thought Freddie was in there fucking hitting me too. So.
Any of you radio personalities think you want smoke? Call me Mr. Chimney. I want smoke.
Yes. What is up, MCR family? Another daily edition of the show live on YouTube. Obviously, podcast from iTunes, Spotify, radio, etc. I'm Matt, the Hipster Hunter. Obviously, going to be talking all things boxing today. Danny Garcia versus Mikey Garcia is in the works. And while that's not a bad matchup, though I don't like the matchup on the surface, it has been attached, allegedly, by Mike Coppinger to be a Fox pay-per-view. So yeah, there's that. Plus a few other piece of sort of news stories to get to. Richard Commey getting another fight. Also, Inoue having now some beef with his opponent this weekend, Emmanuel Rodriguez, which we're going to get to as well. Rob, I see you in the chat joking. Go plant your apple trees and keep ducking the show and, take your vacation. Lazy co-host making me do this solo. But let's get into the news because, let's be honest. We need to get into this because I have thoughts about this. I know you guys have thoughts about this. So call in 323-870-4051. Press 1 to get in the queue. It should be interesting. International callers, Skype, Mixed Combat Radio. I don't think anyone has anything positive about this. And I'll be honest. Even the usual list of characters, list of personalities on boxing Twitter that usually defend PBC, haven't seen them around that much. Maybe that's due to me muting a lot of their accounts because they're annoying. But even then, have not seen it, and I'm shocked. I expected to see a little more of a defense on social media when it comes to this being pay-per-view. Have not seen it, so maybe that's a good thing. But let's get into it, because like I said, Mike Coppinger is the one to report it. He said, sources, Mikey Garcia and Danny Garcia are in advanced talks for a welterweight fight that would take place in August at Staples Center, and a deal isn't far off. One possible date is August 31st, and it's being discussed as a PBC on Fox pay-per-view. To add to this, Lance Pugmire jumping in saying the person most pressing for this fight, first mentioned by Mike Coppinger, is Mikey himself, with Al Heyman trying to secure a late summer date at Staples Center. The premise is that the winner fights Pacquiao-Thurman winner. Before I touch the winner of this fight fights the winner of Pacquiao-Thurman, because that's a separate aspect to this story that I do not like. The fight itself, I don't like the fight. Mike is coming off a devastating loss. We lost every round and got beat up in the process by Earl Spence. And now, instead of even dropping down to 140, let alone 135, he's staying at welterweight and not Not taking tune-up. No, he's fighting Danny Garcia, who's coming off a great win against Adrian Granados. It just makes little to no sense from Mikey Garcia's perspective. And his career decision sort of making is absolutely abysmal. I am shocked Al Heyman is okaying with this at all. It's a short-term, air quotes, money grab. Because let's be honest, the fact that this is pay-per-view is questionable. I don't think this is going to do successful numbers at all. This isn't going to do anywhere near Spence Garcia, in my opinion. This is confusing on a multitude of levels. And for Danny Garcia, this doesn't do a lot for him, other than it's fighting a name, and in PBC's mind, you have these names at welterweight, including Mikey for some reason. That now he's a welterweight. He just is that now. And instead of, let's say, Danny fighting Sergey Lepinets, who just put on a fantastic performance, Fight of the Year contender against Lamont Peterson, put that on Fox, so you have another Fight of the Year contender on Fox like Herb Williams. No, let's not do that. Let's put Danny in there with a guy that just lost on a successful, but not a blockbuster pay-per-view, and a guy that, again, lost every round in that fight. What up, Jason Burgos in the chat? Good colleague over at Sherdog. If you want to see any of his work, a lot of it's in our affiliates and friend of the show playlist, so go check out that. On top of this, let's be honest here, we have Earl Spence versus Sean Porter, a unification, in my opinion, a great fight. That's on Fox for free. And yet you're going to make the public pay for Danny Garcia versus Mike Garcia, the guy that lost to Earl Spence. I don't see the logic in this at all. I somewhat see the logic in the matchup if you're PBC, because it's a short-term sort of two names together. I get it. But it on pay-per-view makes literally no sense, because you're comparing it, you're juxtaposing it on the schedule with a unification in that division between Spence and Porter, a guy that beat the guy that's in this main event on pay-per-view, where there's no title on the line. It just does not make sense to me. I think, obviously, it shows, one, that PBC, for some reason, and maybe in terms of their analytics, it makes sense, that Mikey Garcia was the big proponent or the big pay-per-view push in the Spence fight. That his name somehow added the pay-per-view buy rate. Maybe it's they have the demographic analytics of the pay-per-view buys. I don't know. But that's the only excuse I can think of. And even then, you're still ripping off the consumers. Because you're giving a fight that's exponentially better than it on Fox, where the winner of that, the main event of that Fox event, has the winner of a past pay-per-view, where now you're making the loser final pay-per-view again, with a guy that historically, if correct me if I'm wrong, everyone in the chat, I don't think I am, Danny Garcia has never headlined a pay-per-view in his life. Never. And let's be honest here, he hasn't really done blockbuster numbers in quite some time. Even the Porter fight wasn't great numbers. I mean, obviously they're going to try to target and leverage this as some sort of Mexican versus Puerto Rican fight, but God, this is just so trash. Not only is the matchup itself on its surface trash, it makes little to no sense other than these are two guys that have relatively big names in this division within our stable. Let's put them together as a pay-per-view. And again, it's Puerto Rico versus Mexico. Let's go back to that well again. On top of that, again, the pay-per-view price point for this fight is just atrocious. It just is. Even, I mean, you can make a legit argument that this is the worst PBC pay-per-view to date. Like, even including Spence Garcia, and even sort of take away what we found out in the Wilder-Fury fight, what we previously thought going into that. We thought Fury didn't look great against Safari and Pinata. We thought it was going to be a pretty easy walkover for Deontay Wilder against a not really 100% Tyson Fury. And on paper, that was a better matchup. or Spence Garcia on paper was a better matchup than Danny Garcia, Mike Garcia in this context, in this time frame. It does nothing, I think, for Danny. It does nothing for Mikey, because I don't think Mikey wins it, to be honest. I think he has an uphill battle in this division. It's just... Hold on. I got the perfect soundbite for what this is. You know what this is?
That's stupid. Use your common sense.
Come on, PVC. Like, if anything, Spence Porter should have been pay-per-view. If you were going to offset the winner and loser of that Spence Garcia fight as one pay-per-view, one Fox, Danny Garcia, Mike Garcia as a Fox main event makes sense. It does. It does. Like, I still may hate the matchup, but that as a Fox main event makes sense. Spence Porter on pay-per-view makes sense. It did. We may not ultimately like paying the $75 for it, but in terms of meritocracy, it does make sense. It may not be a great buy rate, but it still makes sense. Jason asking in the chat, would pay-per-view make sense at a lower price? And why haven't promotions tried to lower pay-per-view costs in the DAZN era? You know, it's interesting, especially when we had the golf pay-per-view in, what was that, in the last 12 months, I want to say. I forget exactly when it was, with Tiger Woods. And that did 1 million buys, right, on, I think it was Bleacher Report Live. And obviously they had to do refunds because of that, because I think either like the system, like the entire system crashed. I forget exactly what happened. They had to refund it, but they sold 1 million pay-per-view buys for a faded Tiger Woods internet pay-per-view, basically, for I think it was $10 a month. I mean, not $10 a month, just $10 for the pay-per-view. That made sense, right? And on top of it, Canelo Jacobs, you know, to sort of connected to the zone. In essence, that's a $10 to $20 pay-per-view, depending if you're grandfathered in, right, for the month, but it's still, in a sense, you're buying for the content. And that did, 600,000 views, concurrent live streams in the U.S. If you up that to $75 a month, does it do that? Probably not. It probably does less than that. So it does decent. So they still make money, but does less. Do I think promotions or promoters or PBC, because they're their own sort of thing, do they ever really test that? I don't know. Even the UFC were really tepid about the whole movement to ESPN Plus, and then it was like, oh, it'd be $5 cheaper for ESPN Plus subscribers. We're like, yeah, of course, we're paying an extra $5 in the month. But digressing from that, I just don't think they do it. Not anytime soon. I don't think any of these pay-per-views coming up are going to be a reduced price, because their past pay-per-views, since Wilder Fury, have all been successful. Wilder Fury was a success. Whatever you want to say, they made money on that. Manny Pacquiao, Adrian Broner, they made money on that. There's a reason why Pacquiao Thurman's pay-per-view. Spence Garcia, that was a success. There's a reason why Mikey Garcia is in talks to be a pay-per-view main event after losing in a fight, while the guy that beat him is going back to Fox. Again, confusing in a multitude of ways and frustrating, not only for us as consumers and fans, but there's the market. Like, the market can't sustain this for too long. Like, we're already paying a lot, not only as like sports fans or combat sports fans, especially if you like UFC and or MMA as a whole and boxing, but just this new quasi-digital age where you still pay for cable. Because, like, for me, I still pay for cable, right? I still pay for HBO, I still pay for Showtime, but I still have to have DAZN, Netflix, Hulu, coming up, Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, Amazon Prime, and then pay for all these pay-per-views. Like, the market can't sustain that from an entertainment perspective, from a sports entertainment perspective. And at some point, the overall cost has to come down at some point. Now, obviously, at the same time that the overall cost, I think, for all of us to watch all of this content on all these different apps and services and cable packages, the overall capital being invested into sports/entertainment content has risen drastically. Not only in boxing, but in MMA and entertainment as a whole. The amount of money that is being invested into sports entertainment is probably unheralded. Like, there's never been a point in history where you can look at and say, yeah, this amount of money equals to what this amount of money is today that's being pumped into the sport on a yearly basis, pumped into sports as a whole on a yearly basis, pumped into entertainment as a whole on a yearly basis. And we pay for it. We do. And again, at some point we have to, either we, the consumers, have to sort of adjust course for this, or the industry does, because eventually the consumer will no matter what, and especially in today's age. But moving on, because I can't rant about Mikey Garcia, Danny Garcia being pay-per-view anymore. It's just completely infuriating. Let's move on. Again, call in 323-870-4051. Press 1 to get in the queue. International callers, call in on Skype, Mix Combat Radio. Hit the like button, share the show, subscribe, patreon.com/Mix Combat Radio. Mike Coppinger again saying, sources, Richard Commey and Ray Beltran have agreed to terms for a lightweight title showdown June 28th on ESPN in Temecula, California. The next day, ESPN Plus is expected to stream the light heavyweight title fight between Sergey Kovalev and Anthony Yarde from Russia. Rob, I don't know what you're responding to, so please clarify. Or call in, Rob. Okay, hold on. Where's a soundbite for you? Here we go. I smell pussy. Come on, Rob. What are you doing? But anyways, Commey, Beltran. I think I reported this yesterday that Bob Arum talked to, I think, Michael Benson about this and said, this is my plan, and this fight was on it. And Richard Commey has already sort of been loaned over from PBC to ESPN for a period of time, so this makes sense. It should be exciting. I think Commey should win in devastating fashion at some point in the fight, but definitely should be exciting as long as it goes. And I'm just ready for the Commey-Lopez fight that's going to happen at the end of the year, like November, December. Okay, I'll say the link. Rob apparently is going to jump on. Might bless us with his presence, guys. Air horns for Rob. There we go, Rob. Link sent. But anyways, digressing. I again think it's a good fight. Like, it's something that I'm gonna get super hyped on. I know it's gonna be entertaining, but it's nothing that's gonna be earth-shattering in any way. Like, at least on paper, it's nothing that wows me, because it's an in-between fight. Like, Bob Arum has specifically stated this is an in-between fight for the Lopez-Nakatini winner. So I say, sort of have that same hype level for an in-between fight. It just is what it is. The last topic of the day, and then we'll go to callers, and maybe Rob. Inoue, over in Glasgow, Scotland, was apparently, or I should say, his father was apparently shoved by Team Rodriguez as tensions are boiling here. And I gotta say, guys, as a Inoue fanboy, how dare Rodriguez's team do this to his father, okay?
You piece of shit!
How dare you?
I'm gonna fucking kill you!
How dare you?
I'm gonna kill you! I'm gonna kill you!
How dare you? Being on an old man like that. And also his trainer. Like, how dare you? Rob! What's up, man?
How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. You want to finish up your topics and then
I was just talking about, like, Inoue's dad being pushed and how I'm deeply, deeply offended as a fanboy. I played the Paulie soundbite. That's pretty much it. I don't have really any deep take because Inoue's going to whoop this guy, so...
Yeah, I think revenge will be will be taken, but I don't know.
Imagine Inoue upset. That would be terrifying.
Yeah, I looked it up. What day did I look it up? But if you want to take Wilder, what fights are there this weekend? Wilder, Taylor, Inoue, Gary Russell, and Billy Joe Saunders. It's like 0.63 to 1. There's like 200 to 1 shots. Like favourites, not underdogs.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous money. But I asked people on Twitter, like, out of all of them, which is the possible upset, and a lot are saying Rodriguez could be the upset, but I don't know, man. Let's see if he can take a shot.
Man, yeah, that's probably the one that I would pick as like the closest fight of the weekend.
Yeah, but
I
it's
just
strange because the lesser underdog, I think, is Baranchek. He's like the closer in the betting odds with Taylor than Inoue and Rodriguez, but a lot of people are putting a lot of stock into Rodriguez.
yeah, and also I would say a lot of hardcores are putting stock into Rodriguez, and for some reason I'm one of them. Like Branchick just does not appeal. Like I think he's pretty basic. I think for a guy like Taylor, he's like easy made for him. While
Style.
while Rodriguez is a pretty good opponent. Like he is. Like he has a decent career thus far at a relatively young career. I think he's only like 16-0. But anyway, I mean, for a weekend that has a lot of actually good fights, none of them are really truly a 50-50 fight. Like
No,
none of them.
it's crazy. Like big favorites and big underdogs, but it's everyone's saying what a weekend of fights it is. I think it's more the names that are involved rather than the actual matchups to a degree.
Agreed. It's definitely the quantity of it. There's a lot of fights.
Yeah, I mean Billy Joe Saunders is 100-1 favorite, on favorite, so a minus 1,000 or however you say it in the States, but yeah. So I think there's a lot. I know a lot of people are holding out for Brazil to get the upset, but the big thing is can Wilder sort of do it quicker than Joshua? So Joshua done it in the 7th round with glandular fever. Can 100%. And 100% Deontay Wilder do it in less than 7. We'll find out. But yeah, it's a good weekend for sure. But again, there's a lot of big favorites.
Except for that Gary Russell Kiko Martinez fight. That is trash. You don't even need that. You can just get rid of it, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, this shows you I know Jordan Gill went on to lose on Friday, but that was who they wanted to fight. They wanted to fight Kiko Martinez because at the time they thought he was still the European champion, but he did vacate like earlier in the week because he had a big US fight coming up, which obviously turns out to be Gary Russell. But yeah, so that would have been an okay sort of fight for Gill, but for Gary Russell, Kiko Martinez just isn't doing it for most.
I'll put it this way: for those that don't know, Kiko Martinez was relevant really before I even got into the industry. That's how old this guy is, man. Like, why is he here?
It's terrible. I think his punch resistance has been punched out of him as well.
Remember when he fought Leo Santa Cruz like in 2015 or 16, like when PBC was doing all the time buys?
Okay.
Even then, he was faded over the hill Kiko Martinez. Why the hell are you fighting him? And that was in 2015 and 16. It's 2019 now, guys. And it's halfway through the year.
And that's Leo Santa Cruz and Gary Russell, who should just be fighting each other. with as well with that gap that they've both going to be fighting Kiko Martinez. So yeah, very uninteresting matchup, that one. Be interesting to see if Gary Russell maybe squeaks in a second fight of the year. Who knows? It's been a crazy year for boxing, but I just want to go back, you were talking about the pay-per-view, the Garcias.
The Garcias.
And the winner
time out, Rob. Just for the bands. When I did the social media post, like, hey, here's the show, call in, blah blah, and I did hashtag Garcia, that felt so unnatural. Like, ew.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. The hashtag for the fight, Garcia.
Ew.
Are they going to do? We'll have to see what the official one is for when the fight's on. Is it M Garcia, D Garcia, or
what's Mikey's nickname? Can they do nicknames? Can they do like Swift something?
Maybe, yeah. Mikey, yeah, because you can't do Mikey Garcia, because that's just Mikey Garcia. So I don't know.
I mean,
Mikey's Mikey. Has he got a
you
nickname?
can you do Danny Mikey? No, that just sounds weird.
Danny Mikey. It sounds like isn't that some of the names from the Monkees, the 60s band?
Like Canelo is like Madonna now. Like we just call him Canelo and Triple G. Like that was easy. Canelo, Triple G. We didn't do Alvarez, Golovkin. Like that was nice.
Yeah.
This one's gonna be rough.
Canelo Triple G. It's got a ring to it, and then you can add all the numbers 1, 2, 3. That's fine. But yeah, Danny, Mikey, Danny, Garcia times 2. I don't know.
Ooh, I like the times 2.
Yeah, Garcia squared. There you go. That would be good.
By the way, Santiago's jumping and saying Mikey has no nickname. Mikey essentially is his nickname. That is so fucking sad.
Yeah.
They're doomed.
I mean,
hashtags.
like you said, I think they're going after the demographic. I think I remember on a show you were kind of coming at me like, it shouldn't be a pay-per-view. There's not even a bout on the line. Dillian White, Derek Chisora, that was it. So,
oh yeah,
that's America catching up with the curve, putting on non-title fight pay-per-views.
Now see if ours was $20-$25.
No problem.
I wouldn't say no problem,
but it softens the blow, right?
Oh hell yeah! But no, $75 for HD. God damn it, I'm pissed.
Yeah, but you can get it in standard definition for like $74.99 or whatever. Whatever Stephen Espinoza argued. But that's one of my points is, what is Showtime doing? What is their schedule? Because it looked like, they're just going to get a better second half of the year. But this is another Fox pay-per-view.
Like everything we predict, me and you, Rob, thought the welterweight names that were on the Fox sort of first quarter were going to sort of trade off in between quarters with Fox and Showtime. That's not happening.
Nope. Spence is on Fox, right? Regular Fox. So
yeah,
I'm sure I saw Stephen Espinoza say in an interview that like he was going to be getting Spence's next fight, but obviously not. It turns out him and Porter are going on
Big Fox,
normal on Big Fox. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not going down the route that Showtime are following HBO out the door, but.
But it's not necessarily. See, the thing is, it might not be a voluntary thing with them. You know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of people assumed. By the way, the Jamal Charlo card is Showtime, but that's a trash card. God.
Yeah, like I say, they're just getting the crumbs. It seems is all the marquee names.
I'm looking at the schedule right now, and that is literally the only other one on the docket. And Fox has their entire year scheduled, even without like fights on the card. Like they have dates, already set.
Yeah. I think Gervonta Davis is he going to be Showtime as well?
He has to be. Like that's that's one of the few names they could sort of pull around.
But it's against his you've got Wilder facing his mandatory on Showtime. Sorry, go on.
I mean, here's the thing. If you're PBC and you have an equal deal with Showtime and Fox, which one do you lean more towards? You lean more towards Fox, right? Like you at least try to, because it's the bigger platform. If you try to sort of delineate what you have in terms of talent, and then, like you say, the scraps in a sense. Even though like Wilder isn't a scrap, Jamal isn't a scrap, but these fights are. Let's be honest. These cards are overall. They're not deep cards in any sense of the word. And even the earlier schedule of Showtime, it's not great fights, any of them. While Fox has had great fight after great fight after great fight. And on top of that, big name after big name after big name. I think it's pretty clear that Al Heyman and PBC are looking that Fox is the future of their brand.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the numbers have been good, right? What did
They've been decent, yeah. I mean, everything they've done on main Fox has done over 1 million views. That's really good. Nothing has averaged over 2 million in terms of the whole telecast. That's a little bit of an issue, but I assume the Spence Porter fight's going to do gangbuster numbers on Fox with all of the promotion that Fox has behind Spence. But again, if you couple that with in a sense, good business strategy. If you're PBC, I think everyone would probably agree here. Fox is the smarter long-term ploy than probably Showtime. It just is. However, you couple that with really pricey pay-per-views that maybe aren't worth it. Especially this one. Like the Pacquiao-Thurman one, we get, you can have that one. We will pay for it. But this one is atrocious. I don't know why they just did not put Spence Porter pay-per-view. Like that makes sense. Like that's a meritocracy thing. Like I may not think it does well. I may think it does even a little bit less than the Mikey fight, but that still makes sense from a meritocracy standpoint to put that on pay-per-view.
You would think so. Like he went ahead and won the fight in dominant fashion. Done good numbers, sold a whole bunch of tickets. I mean, they're going to New York with it. I mean, he's just sold nearly 50,000.
And on top of that, historically speaking, Spence does better numbers than Mikey. Like both in TV viewership and in everything, like in gate revenue.
Sure. And also, it's believed the winner's getting the winner of Thurman Pacquiao. So where does Spence fit in with that? Is that? Does that lean towards? Are they maybe looking at making the Crawford fight? I don't know. But
I'm hoping. I am praying to God and being optimistic that is the case. That they're leaving that door open. And even then, maybe he just wants to tune up afterwards. Like maybe he has a mandatory. Like that could be a possibility.
Yeah, I'm sure there's probably and
let's be honest, if he goes and fights Sean Porter, and I think it's gonna be a really tough fight in unification, he's due a mandatory / tune up, and then he can worry about something else. Well, I think whoever wins the Thurman Pacquiao fight is gonna be a little more dominant in their affair than the Porter Spence fight. And on top of that, I think Danny's just going to dominate Mikey Garcia. Like, I don't think Mikey's going to be successful really at all with Danny.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a more competitive fight than obviously the Spence fight. You know, Spence is what he is at the weight. But yeah, it's a strange one. Wasn't expecting it, but I think it's kind of been talked about for a little while, but we never really sort of saw it happening.
Well, the thing is, like I said, like the fight itself, while I do have an issue with it, it's also within the context of the timing of it. Like Mikey's coming off a devastating loss to Earl Spence, where he lost every round, and then couple that with it being pay-per-view allegedly for this Danny Mikey fight. That's what, like those two things combined, those two factors combined, make this fight seem atrocious. More so than just these two guys fighting. If Mikey went and fought, let's say, a tune-up welterweight, I don't know who that name would be off the top of my head, but just say a tune-up guy in the top 20, top 30 in the division, right? On the co-main to Pacquiao-Thurman. And Danny goes and fights Sergey Lepinets on a Fox main event, another Fight of the Year contender in the bag right there. I would be much more in favor of that. And I think you beef up your pay-per-view with a relatively cheap tune-up fight with Mikey, which makes the consumers happy. On top of that, you put Danny on Fox again with a surefire Fight of the Year contender. But nope, that logic makes no sense to PBC matchmakers.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think some of our pay-per-views are of a huge undercard standard, but mainly more because obviously I'm looking for like the Boatzes and the Kellys and that, and I know them more. But some of the pay-per-views that have been put on over there, the undercards have been. You can tell the money is purely for the main event, and the rest is just for these real terrible fights. But I don't know. It's interesting, but. Did it say that it was August 31st was mentioned for the...
Yes. Yep.
Yes, well, that's apparently rumoured maybe for the Campbell-Lomachenko fight over here as well. So that'll be the same day. That'll be so decent, I guess, day weekend of boxing.
And with that one being the UK, there'd be offset too in terms of timing, so that's nice.
Yeah. It'll be a long day for you. But, and that's more than likely going to be pay-per-view as well, so... We're paying for one, you're paying for one, but we're just getting it a bit cheaper. But yeah, for everyone who was waiting on the big Deontay Wilder announcement, it's not really big.
Yo, only like I'm gonna try to be nice here because you're included in this, but like only people that are way too obsessed with the AJ Wilder debacle situation, saga, whatever, like paid any mind to that.
Well, it was just coupled with Ben Davison. It was at the Fury Schwartz press conference. Part of his Boxing Social interview, he mentioned, because he said something like, because, yeah, we heard Wilder was about to sign a 3-fight deal with Showtime, which may have been signed. It just hasn't been sort of announced or anything like that or whatever. So it was just fell in line with Ben Davison saying that in an interview, and then Wilder saying he had a big announcement for tomorrow, so which is obviously today, and been waiting on that, and he's just kind of done like the opening monologue of Muhammad Ali HBO documentary or something. It's good to see HBO putting on some boxing again. But yeah, so yeah, that was the big news. So anyone who was holding some, I saw, I want to say, other channels, wondering if he was about to announce the Joshua fight.
I will give you this, Rob. You did not go as crazy as, quote, some other channels. Because you just said maybe it's a 3-fight Showtime deal, which like kind of made sense, right? Because like they already sort of said like, hey, these are the 3 fights that he's having.
Yeah, it kind of worked, but
it wasn't true. But the logical leap to go, oh guys, hey, let's do a show. The AJ fight could be happening. Jesus Christ, man! I worry about the producing of said channels.
Yeah, I mean, view grabbers, right? Grab those views, but yeah, like you say, the possible Showtime deal made sense with what we basically know his next 3 opponents. Like I said, Ben Davison kind of said their side had heard that there was a 3-fight deal for Wilder. But as we've heard many times, Deontay Wilder has said many times that, you know, we've got big things in the pipeline. Big things are coming. So this was a big announcement. That wasn't that big.
Rob, I am so used to like Mayweather saying, "Hey, it's a big announcement," and it's like just a sponsorship or something like that, you know. So,
It might have been like he re-upped with Everlast or something.
When a fighter has a fight scheduled like that week and he says it's a big announcement, guys, it's not a big announcement. Like for us boxing fans, it won't be a big announcement. For him personally, it probably is. Like to be in any aspect talking on a Muhammad Ali documentary about Muhammad Ali produced by LeBron James, HBO, have the blessing of the Ali family and trust. I mean, of course you're going to be happy about that. That's a big announcement for Wilder himself, but for us, we don't give a shit. And let's be honest, for us, how many Muhammad Ali documentaries have we seen in our lifetime? Way too many. They're all great. Move on. There's other stories.
Yeah, it's like all the books, you know, the Muhammad Ali story written by so-and-so, written by someone else. It's kind of the same story. There may be a few extra little bits.
The production quality might be better, but that's about it.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. When HBO have done stuff, sort of boxing-related documentary style, it's very good. Like the Tapia story.
That was amazing.
Brilliant piece of documentary
work.
I
think both HBO and Showtime have a great knack for documentary style filmmaking, especially storytelling within that.
Yeah, I mean,
genre.
I just wish we had something, you know, along those lines, like the 24/7 or the All Access or even the DAZN 40 Days series that seems to, you know, the one on the YouTube channel for Canelo is like nearly on 1 million views. I think they're so well done. They're really, you know, the quality is excellent, and yeah, we just don't seem to get that really here.
You guys do though. I will give you guys this. I think even for BT now, I think BT and with Frank Warren, I think they've stepped up their job. You guys' promos are great.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I love.
You guys make great 30-second, 1-minute promos. Like you guys make fantastic ones of that. We in the US in terms of boxing, we need to do better promos. You guys do better promos, but we do better long form documentaries when it comes to boxing. That's about it.
Yeah. I guess it all comes down to budgets and all that kind of thing, and TV time, slots
Absolutely.
and things like that. So, but yeah, is Gary on the line or?
We have Santiago. We have Gary.
Are you going to do an hour with Gary?
Oh man, hours. Gary, I love you, man. God, when I went back and realized, holy shit, it's more than an hour that Gary was on. I'm like, wow. Because I was kind of feeling bad, Gary, that I was like, no, we're done with the show. Like, I'm tired. I kind of felt bad, Rob, Because I was like, sometimes I'm mean, even though it's theatrical and it's a show, but I know sometimes I can be a little mean and harsh. But I was like, nah, Gary got an hour. He was good. He got like an hour and 15.
Yeah, even I was saying, stop.
You were bringing your phone closer to you, like, stop.
Yeah, I moved my mic closer, but yeah. What was I going to say? I can't remember. Oh yeah, Joshua Buatsi's opponent.
Yeah, Marco Parabon.
Yeah, hasn't fought for 2 years, so I guess this is going to be kind of a potentially like a highlight reel kind of. Almost a welcome to America in front, to the American audience. Look good, get a good knockout.
Yeah, me and you were talking in our group chat, and we were obviously juxtaposing the Josh Kelly and Joshua Buatsi announcements because they're both fighting on the same card, both making their U.S. debuts. Man, Josh Kelly got the tough fight, man.
Yeah, he's in a tough one. I really do. I really think. Didn't Ray Robinson fight fairly recently?
Let me look.
I seem to think he did.
I want to say he fought on like a Showbox card. No, it was like an ESPN card recently. I want to say. Shit,
I think maybe you're right. Yeah, I know it was fairly recently. The name jumps out, and I seem to remember.
Yeah, he fought. Oh God, it's the name that you probably know. Agitas Kavalauskas.
Okay, yeah.
That 20-0 prospect, and he fought him to a draw. That was on ESPN. That was on the Vajdik Ngambu card. That was the card that we all hated like a few weeks ago. That was in March 30th.
Yeah. Okay.
So like a month and a half ago. And then he fought Ordanis Ugas and lost via TKO last year. And then he fought Breedis Prescott, beat him. It's probably the biggest name he has beaten in his career. For those that want to know.
I expect Kelly to do his usual thing, but I just hope we see a more ruthless Josh Kelly in that one. But yeah, he's in a tough one, I think. But looks like Buatsi's being given the opportunity to shine and look good. And although I think he last time out, keep forgetting the guy's name, the opponent, Buatsi's opponent. But he lost to Yildirim on points. Mm-hmm. I think last time out about a couple of years ago. So off the couch and facing Buatsi. Good luck with that. Damn.
Oh God.
All right. Well, whoever's first in the queue, you can get them on. I'll jump off and let you take the calls.
Thank you, Rob, for coming on. I missed you, man. Hope you're
problem.
Hope you're having fun. Hope you're having fun planting apple trees and having your vacation.
No, I hate it. I just want to go home with my family, and obviously with the studio next door. But
at least this time it's not frozen over.
No, it's been beautiful.
That's nice.
I don't know. It must be like 20 degrees, which I don't know what it is in Fahrenheit, but I think it's a world record for Scotland.
It's like I think it's like 55, 60 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah. That's I think the hottest it's ever been in Scotland, as far as I'm concerned, anyway.
Yeah. Oh my God. All right, Rob. Thank you, man.
Catch you later.
See you, obviously, or I'll talk to you later today and see you sometime.
Yes.
Peace.
Hit that thumbs up, people.
Oh, yes.
Keep the chat going. 5-star reviews, all the good stuff. Later.
Later, Rob. Let's go to Santiago in LA. Santiago.
Yo, nice to hear Rob on the show again. Feels like it's been a good while since I last heard him on here. To be honest with you, dude, I was actually pretty much on board for a Mikey versus Danny fight after he first beat Broner. I remember that was something that they actually asked him about, and I think he talked about it too. Definitely not on pay-per-view, though. Fuck that shit. Like, we've got enough, and for us especially, we've already paid for a shitty one with a shitty outcome that was worse than what we could have anticipated for. So, as a degenerate, I'll watch the fight, but only if it's in theaters. I'm sure shit not going to shell out another $60-$70 to watch the fight. I think it would be an interesting fight, and to be honest, I actually think it's a fight Mikey could win because, going into the fight, I felt that Danny lacked a couple of necessary X factors in his game to really make himself more of a compelling fighter like he was when he was fighting at 140, took on guys like Lucas Matisse. His win over Adrian Granados, impressive as it was, it still leaves me wanting more. I do think the knockout is impressive, but again, I know that one of the things that they talked about on that show too was the fact that he was throwing more punches, but that goes back to a question I've been asking other people: is this because he's finally working on his volume as a fighter, or is this because this is what he was supposed to do against the caliber of opposition he felt he should beat? Against a guy like Mikey, if it isn't what it is, he's going to show it. And so I'm interested in the fight. I think it's going to be fun to see how they choose to bill it because, to my recollection, I can't think of another instance when there was a fight with two guys with the same last name. I can think of a few fighters that have the same first name, Antonio Margarito versus Antonio Diaz, but not with the last name. So it should be fun to see how that is, especially because they both have middle names. They both have formal names, and, they go by Mikey and Danny. So it'll be fun to see how they try to do that and everything. But what are your thoughts on, Danny's progression, since the Matisse fight? Do you feel that he's improving as a fighter, or do you feel that he's only been scratching at the surface thus far?
Yes and no. I think largely since the Matisse fight, no, he has not improved as a fighter. I think in the Granados fight, looking back on it, he was really impressive in that fight. Doing what he did against Granados, and largely, I want to say, dominated that fight. Beat up Granados in the process. That was a little bit shocking because Granados traditionally doesn't happen to him. Porter wasn't able to do that. Broner wasn't able to do that. But Danny was, and the process knocked him out at the same time. I think Mikey's entire game is predicated off the jab, which is one of the best weapons against Danny Garcia. So that's going to lead him to be a little more competitive than maybe what people might think, or at least more so than what they thought in the Spence fight. However, I think you need more than just a good jab with Danny. I think you need really good lateral movement. And in my opinion, Mikey has always really struggled with that. Because Danny doesn't care if Mikey's in his face. Danny's going to be the bigger guy, the heavier hitter. And to be honest, you can make the argument he is the better mid-combination puncher than Mikey Garcia. You can make that argument. It might not be 100% accurate, but you can make the argument. So I think Mikey is going to have to show something a little bit out of character. He's going to have to show a lot more lateral movement. He's going to show something that he showed us in almost like the Salido fight, for example. But even then, that was a long time ago where Mikey was a lot lighter, a lot smaller, and he was the taller, bigger guy in that fight with the longer range. That's not going to be the case here. I think he's going to try to have the same game plan he had against Spence, get on the inside and rough him up, and then pose and be play the small man game in a sense and be on the inside and do that. I just don't think he's fast enough for that. I don't think he's necessarily talented enough for that, to be honest. I think Danny's going to eat him up in the late rounds.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. If that is essentially the game plan that they'd be working on, I'd probably go with Danny all the way. I think that he would have to more or less try to do what Porter did, and again, something that I've always felt has been an issue with Danny, like an issue that I had with Canelo, is the fact that he usually does better either when you come to him or on the back foot. When it comes to trying to come forward, it's never been his easiest thing. And if a guy like Porter, who has been known as a mauler and aggressor, could be on his toes, start in and out, and give, Danny trouble like that, that's something that, unless he's been working and improving on that, is still an issue for him. And I did see him come forward, but I felt that was more because he knew he had his man hurt and he knew he could finish him. So I'm still curious to see how their improvements as individual fighters will show it when the matchup is set and done. So I'm curious, Ed. That's my take on that for now. Again, if this fight is in theaters, I'll get you a ticket. We'll go watch it in your area and everything. But fuck paying pay-per-view for this, quite frankly, at that point. I look forward to the Beltran Commey fight. I think Commey wins this one. It's going to be nice to see him back in action. I believe he's a world titleist, right? He did win a world title in
IBF.
Yeah, IBF, right. So it'll be interesting. I think Beltran will put up a good fight for as long as it goes, but I think he's pretty much done at this point. And yeah, man. It'll be interesting to see how everything else plays out. I don't really have much else to say regarding this topic. I was more intrigued about what your takes were as of Mikey and Danny as individual fighters. So if you have any other questions regarding any of the topics, feel free to shoot. Otherwise, that's my call.
Have a great day, Santiago. Stay safe out there while you're driving the mean streets of L.A. Going out to Gary in Dallas. Gary. What's up, man? You buying Danny Garcia versus Mike Garcia? Fox pay-per-view? You buying it?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm buying it. You just gonna admit that you're buying it now?
No, I'm gonna wait.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they said it's gonna be in LA, right?
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Gary with the save. You get credentialed for it. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't have to buy the Spence Garcia pay-per-view because I could go. So now you don't have to buy it. You can go. Yeah. And you could probably get credentials, so you don't even have to pay to go.
Yeah, I can get there for free.
There's a double win for you.
Yeah. See, Gary, that made my day right there. You know what, guys? Great fight. I'm all in favor of Danny Garcia versus Mike Garcia. Blockbuster event. Go PBC. Viva PBC.
Yeah, and I think Danny's going to win, obviously. I mean, I don't think it's as one-sided as you're saying it is. I don't think it's as one-sided as the Spence fight. But I think Danny stops him. I think it's fairly competitive early, at least.
Agreed.
And I think, because I'm not saying Danny's a bigger puncher than Spence, but Danny sets up his power and picks his power shots really, really well. So I think as Mikey starts to tire and Danny starts to wear him down as a big man, he'll pick that left hook. At some point, he'll land a picture-perfect left hook that'll end the night for Mikey. So I would say Danny by 9th or 10th round knockout, something like that.
What do you think about the buy rate?
So what I'm thinking here is that PPC thinks that Mikey Garcia is the star that sold the Spence fight. Is that what your feeling is too?
Yep. They has to. They have to have some internal analytics that point to that in some aspect.
350? You think that's a reasonable number? 350?
I think 350 might be pushing it, but 3 I think is definitely attainable, especially with the Fox marketing machine that we've now seen in full action. We haven't seen them gear up for Pacquiao Thurman, though they honestly don't have to as much for that fight. But that machine is something else. They showed us that in the Spence Garcia fight. There's a distinct possibility it does still really good numbers that they're happy with.
The Pacquiao-Thurman fight is still 2 months away.
Yes.
My guess is that they're going to push that as we get closer to the fight as much as they did the Spence Garcia fight, because you got Pacquiao, who everyone knows and loves, and then Thurman. Again, Thurman doesn't like to do a lot of media, but he's pretty good at it, right? He's better at it than Mikey or Spence, right? Like Thurman's an entertaining guy. They're going to need him to sell the fight too. I think that fight will do at least minimum 500,000 pay-per-view buys, just because it's Pacquiao and Thurman's. I mean, you know what I think about Keith Thurman, but Keith Thurman, of anyone in that welterweight division, is the only one who can sell a fight, with this talk. So I think that fight's actually going to do really, really well. I think it'll do more than the Broner fight by a lot. At least 100,000 more than the Broner fight. I think that fight will do really well. Which means that Keith Thurman would be making a minimum of probably $10 million, right?
Yeah, I think there's been some whispers about that. I think he's getting like at least 10 for it.
Yeah, so that this will be the last time we see Keithy Poo in the ring. He'll take his $10 million and cash out. So,
hey, hold on here. You telling me that because remember, Spence is no longer the next guy up for the winner of this. It's now the winner of Danny versus Mikey. Keith might say, "Oh, that's an easy check too." Fight old man Pacquiao. I'm gonna fight a guy that I've already beat, who I know is pretty basic, in Danny Garcia, and I've seen Earl Spence outbox, outmaneuver, and counterbox Mike Garcia. God knows I can. I think Keith Thurman comes back for at least one more fight if that is the next fight for him.
Well, you're assuming that he beats Manny Pacquiao. I think Pacquiao beats him.
Of course you do. Of course you do, Gary. Gary, who you picking? Oh, you're picking Burchell to beat Loma. Of course you're picking Pacquiao to beat Thurman. Those are the two fighters you hate the most.
I said if I had to pick anyone at 130 or 135 to upset Loma, it would be Burchell.
Gary,
I think Burchell would definitely beat him. Yeah.
Do you mind going down a little tiny rabbit hole with me?
I will always go down rabbit holes with you.
I want you to name me your top 5 most hated active boxers right now. Like people that would be the Thurman, the Lomachenkos that you just don't like, that you will pick against even when you know it's the wrong choice. Give me 3 more names to fill out that top 5.
Okay, well those are your top 2, and then Thurman's all by himself at 1, right? Lomachenko's all by himself at 2, and then there's a big gap after that at 3, 4, and 5. It's really just those 2.
No, Gervonta Davis, no Tyson Fury, no Billy Joe Saunders.
No, I don't like. I mean, I used to be a big Billy Joe fan, but I don't really like any of the steroid cheats. Like once you pop 30, I don't root for you anymore. Mm-hmm. But I don't dislike Billy Joe. Okay, so Keith Thurman 1, Lomachenko 2. After that, boy.
Come on, let the hate flow through you, Gary. Come on.
I got to put Turbo Terry Flanagan on the list for making me look that bad. Like I will never put that down.
There we go, Gary. Get a little petty. Get a little petty. Yeah. Fucking Terry Flanagan.
Makes me look like an idiot. The reason why I picked that was because Hooker told me that Flanagan's a lot better than everybody thinks he is. So that's why I picked him. And he made me look like an idiot.
But you picked him to beat Prograis.
Well, Hooker picked him to beat Prograis too. That's where I got that from.
Well, of course he wants that, so he makes his win look better. Of course he says that.
I guess, yeah.
Fighters are promoters too. We got to think about it that way.
Eddie Hearn and Alex Salcedo would go on the list. I just don't like that dude because he's from Oklahoma.
Ooh, I like
but
that.
Then Bob Arum's not on the list. So 5 is Salcedo.
What about what's his name? Alex Ariza. What about him? Throw him on the list.
Oh wow, yeah, no,
yeah.
He probably goes number 3 then. What a scumbag of a human being that person is.
Because he's still doing something right now. He's still active in the sport somehow. He has to be.
he's still pumping someone full of steroids. You know that.
Absolutely. It might have been Gerald Miller.
I was just going to say that. It's probably Gerald Miller. Is Ariza living in New York now? Because that's probably who he's working with. Yeah, I would say Ariza 3, Turbo Perry Flanagan 4, and Eddie Hearn 5. That'll be my top 5. But then, how is Bob Arum not on the list? Like, Bob Arum should be on
You
the
know
list.
why? Because
you're
you desensitized to Bob Arum. It's been 60 years of him being a curmudgeon, old asshole. And at some point, you just, like, ignore it. He is the old person that, like, yells at, like, the wall.
Yeah.
That you kind of just ignore at the old people home. Like, that's Bob Arum. He just happens to run a multi-million-dollar company that runs a gigantic portion of the sport we love. Just so it happens to be that.
That has 3 good fighters left, right? I mean, I guess they got more than that, but they have Crawford and Loma, Burchell. Who else do they really have?
They in a sense, because the way Top Rank seems like they're doing right now, they're every fighter that's on ESPN, you have a co-promotional deal with Top Rank, it seems, right?
That's true.
So
Yeah,
I would assume that maybe Kovalev in some aspect is tied to Top Rank. I could be wrong about that.
Then, I guess, yeah.
Could be wrong, but I'm gonna throw him in there. God, who else? Tyson Fury. They got Carl Frampton, and he's not bad. He's obviously past his prime, but he's not bad.
I guess they still have good fighters over there. Yeah.
Valdez, but I mean Valdez's title reign has been iffy to say the least. They have a couple good prospects in Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez that are probably gonna do big things. That's about
Not
it.
as big as say Virgil Ortiz or Brandon Figueroa.
Yo, Gary, are you a Patreon member? Don't feel offended if you're not.
Of course I'm a Patriot.
Okay. Well, yeah, okay.
Of course I'm a Patriot member.
I assume so, but Gary, it's been a long day, man. But did you check out the show earlier on patreon.com/MixedCommentRadio where I listed my top 10 prospects?
I did. I was listening to it while I was working. I'll go back and listen. I didn't get to listen to it in detail. But yeah. Like I was working while I was listening to it.
Well, Virgil Ortiz and Brandon Figueroa, they're my top 10. So it's okay, man.
Okay.
It's okay.
What about like Barrios? Would Barrios still be a prospect, or would he be a contender?
No, he's still a
like,
prospect.
How do you go from prospect to contender?
How do you go from a prospect to contender? I think, because like people like
former champion. Is that?
You have to beat a former legit champion. I'll put it that way. Like
because there's so many champions now. Like being like that used to be like the threshold.
It can't be a regular champion. It can't be an IBO champion, IBO belt. It can't be anything like that. It has to be that guy held the legit WBO, WBA, Super WBA, the WBC, and what am I missing? The IBF. Like he held one of those motherfuckers. If you beat a guy that held one of those, you're a contender.
Escondón held a title, right? But I don't remember if it was a regular WBA or the real WBA.
Probably regular. I think it was regular.
Figueroa, probably, yeah. I mean, yeah. Just beating a world champion, I guess, doesn't
and then also
make you a former world champion.
And then look, at some point, you have to divorce yourself from the sanctioning bodies and their rankings and their belts because at some point they are meaningless when it comes to who are the legit top 10, top 15 guys in the division. Because that's a different list than maybe the champions or the individual sanctioning bodies top 15, right? And if you're, let's say, in that top 5, you're a contender. If you're in that top 10, you're probably a contender. But you have to beat someone, in my personal opinion, my consensus top 10 in the division. You have to beat someone in that top 10 for me to think that you're a legit contender. But prospects can be a air quote contender and fight a champion. That happens all the time. But so for example, Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez probably is the better example because he's probably going to fight. He's fighting Nakatini, who's some guy from Japan, I think, and he's fighting Commey after that, most likely. Well, he still has never fought a legit former champion. Hasn't fought a single guy, in my opinion, the top 10 of that division. So he's still a prospect going and fighting a champion. That's sort of how I gauge it.
And then if he beats the champion, the former champion, then he would be a contender, or he'd have to be. But if you're saying anyone in the top 10 is a contender,
Yeah.
who is TFT Lopez is fighting who? A Japanese guy? I don't know. Is that who he's fighting?
Yeah, some guy.
Okay. Is he better or worse than the Swedish guy he just fought? Or about the same level?
Probably about the same level. Maybe a little bit better.
Okay.
But not
That's
much.
Okay. So that's not really going to do much to elevate his status, right? I mean, whatever, if he knocks him out in 3 rounds, it's not really going to change where you rank him, right? I mean, there's nothing he can do to that guy that's going to make you have him shoot up your list of 135 pounders, right? I mean, It is what it is. You're waiting.
Yeah.
So they're going to basically have him go into the Commey fight without ever fighting anyone at an A- or a B+ level. They're just going to throw him into a Commey fight cold, so to speak.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
seems like
know
it.
if that's a good move.
It's not.
Why not give him Beltran? Let him fight. That's a perfect fight for him. Let him fight Beltran. They're getting Beltran to Commey, right?
Yep.
At 140?
No, 135.
They should let him fight at 130. Oh, yeah, 135. 135. So they should let Teofimo fight Beltran. If he struggles with Beltran, then maybe he's not ready for Commey yet. If he blows Beltran out, then put him in with Commey. Because if nothing else, right? Like Comey's a dog. You're not going to have an easy fight with Richard Commey.
Yeah.
So if he test him out with Beltran, make sure he's battle tested, right? Because Beltran never makes a boring fight. Like you have to have these. If you're going to throw him in with Commey, you want to make sure he's battle tested. You want to make sure of that. And I don't even remember Teofimo Lopez eating any big shots. How do you know how he's going to respond if he's in a dogfight? Like you don't. And he's still really young. He could fold up. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't like putting guys in with legitimate champions. Like you know.
Well,
Charles Martin, you know,
it's not to this degree.
fighters.
It's not to this degree because, like, Diego Magdaleno is better than anyone Lubin's record, respective to when Lubin fought Jamel Charlo. But it's like when Lubin fought Jamel Charlo. It's like, hey, look, still a great prospect. We know he's a great prospect, but this is still too soon. Look what happened. And then Lubin went on to fight better competition afterwards that he ever fought before he fought Jamel Charlo and beat them. You know, the Ishe Smith fight, for example, that was a great win for him. But that should have happened before the Jamel Charlo fight, and it didn't.
Right, and I was saying the same thing with Barrios. Right?
Yes.
They're going to wait for Barrios and try to stick him in with Prograis right after the tournament is over. Why not have him fight Broner or someone like that, or
Too high of a name
Brandon
value.
Figueroa? I mean, Omar Figueroa, or
You might see Omar.
Granados, or someone like that.
You could see an Omar fight. You could see or Granados fight especially. You could see those two. Those are realistic. They could make those.
Right. I'd have him make one of those, and he can fight at his favorite weight of 143, and both
And
those
those are
guys can make.
Those are in-house fights. Prograis is not an in-house fight, so
Yeah.
that would be easy to do.
Well, no, Prograis not an in-house fight, but he's just with Lou DiBella, and then he's a network free agent, right? Like that's his deal. So.
Yeah, but he's been on ESPN probably a lot more than he's been anywhere else. On top of that, his management company, I would assume, has probably more ties to ESPN
on that side.
Yes. And that's a very almost baseless assumption, I will admit that, but it's a Hollywood management company. ABC owns, Disney owns ABC, which owns ESPN. I would assume they're just way more comfortable dealing with that than PBC and Fox, just because they have more dealings with those companies.
That makes sense. Yeah, I don't love the idea of putting Barrios in, even like Ramirez. I don't think the world of Ramirez, but like to go from the level of guys you're fighting, and I know you're blowing them out, right to a legitimate world champion like that, with nothing really in between, I don't know. It's tough. I wouldn't. There's steps, right? Like, just try to go from prospect to world champion. If you're great and you're special, you can do it. But, like, I don't know. It doesn't seem like the smartest plan to me. Like, fight someone in the middle. Fight Granados. If you can beat Granados, then you're ready. If you can beat Broner, then you're ready. But we'll see. I mean, that seems to be the plan now. Just have them fight for a world title as soon as possible. We'll see if that works out.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to get to so every of the top PBC welterweights is off the table for Terrence Crawford. So does that mean we're getting Terrence Crawford versus Kell Brook next? Because Kell Brook's no longer on the
Possibility.
June 1st card at Madison Square Garden.
It's a distinct possibility. Probably more likely than anything it happens.
What are your thoughts on that fight, on Kell Brook?
It's not going to end well for Kell Brook.
Do you think it's competitive? Do you think it looks like the Khan fight?
It's not going to look like the Khan fight because Khan was hurt early, and then he just did not have his legs under him from the get-go after that. But it won't be competitive. No. I don't see it being competitive even in spots, to be honest.
So it basically does nothing for Terrence Crawford, right? Like, if you thought Spence was better than Crawford today, and then Crawford annihilates Kell Brook, you don't think Crawford's then better than Spence, right? I mean, there's nothing you can do in that fight that's going to be okay.
Yeah.
So that's why I didn't like that fight to start with. Right now, the perception is that Kell Brook is shot. I don't think Kell Brook is shot. Like I told you, I think he'll win a title again at 47 at some point. He'll win a title. But the perception is that he's shot. So why put him in? Like, why not get him a win, have him look good, and then put him in with Crawford?
Because they've tried that and he hasn't looked good.
And whoever he fought last year, he fought like December, I guess, or November, December of last year, maybe January, something like that. And you and Rob thought he didn't look good at all, right?
He didn't.
Okay, I thought he looked fine, and then the last second half of the fight, he just looked unmotivated. But I thought the first half of the fight, he looked vintage. But okay, I don't think he's as shot as you guys do. Like, I think he would beat Keith Thurman. I think he would beat Danny Garcia.
I don't think that.
Maybe Sean Porter.
No.
50-50 Sean Porter.
No.
Okay.
No. I'll put it this way, Danny.
I don't think.
Not Danny. Adonis Ugas beats Kell Brook in my opinion, and you know how much that means in my view, in my worldview. If I think Adonis Ugas can easily beat you.
And so this is a serious question. Crawford Brook is going to be pay-per-view, I would imagine. Do you think
Probably, yeah, but God, fuck, it is, huh?
Would Crawford versus Ugas do any better? Like, because you would not be upset to see Ugas get another title shot, right? Like, it was competitive enough with Porter.
What do you mean? What do you mean by do better?
No, it's Ugas. Would it do better pay-per-view numbers, Ugas or Brook?
Oh, fuck no! Come on, Brook. Come on. What are you talking about?
Does Brook really have a fan base in the U.S.?
No, but really? He has more name value still.
Still, okay.
Yeah, than Ugas. Yeah, he still has more name value. Does he have a fan base in the U.S.? No, but he still has more name value.
Okay. So an Ugas fight like that wouldn't happen, right? Like, there would be no point in putting Crawford in with Ugas if Brook's a bigger fight.
The Ugas fight would be like an ESPN card. And I think they're trying to do pay-per-view. Okay.
Right. And if they wanted to do an ESPN fight, they could put him in with Collazo. Which, if a Crawford fight doesn't happen, if a Crawford-Spence fight doesn't happen next year, he's going to have to start fighting guys like Collazo. I mean, they just don't have any more names left.
Wait, you hear that Collazo, right? Do you hear that Collazo's fighting Jose Benavidez on the ESPN card?
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
No, I didn't hear that.
Yep.
Okay.
I don't know if that's like official, but I think that's at least in the works.
I don't mind that fight. Who do you like in that fight?
Benavidez.
Yeah, me too. That's not a bad. That's a good fight. I think that would probably be Benavidez' best win, right? I mean,
Yep. I agree.
Yeah, I like that fight.
I do too. I think it's a good fight.
Okay.
Both at relatively the same point in their career.
Oh yeah, and when I said Ugas beat Ray Robinson, you said so what? But now Josh Kelly, he's a tough fight for Josh Kelly.
Well, okay, come on, Gary. Let's use context and nuance here, okay? Josh Kelly and Sean Porter aren't the same thing. So the context of Ray Robinson fighting a prospect that's not really been tested is different when I talk about who Ray Robinson has fought. When I talk about Ugas and fighting a champion who he's fought and beaten has a different context to it. Like, that's pretty simple, right, Gary? Do I need to explain that?
All right, sure, that's fine.
Okay.
My point is, look, Ray Robinson's not a killer by any means.
No, of course
Ray
not.
Robinson's a good fighter. Yeah, Ray Robinson is a good fighter. That's what he is. He's a pretty good fighter. Let me ask you this. So, let's say Josh Kelly beats Ray Robinson. Josh Kelly, if he fought Kell Brook next, do you think he could beat Kell Brook?
Yeah.
Okay, so you think Kell Brook's totally shot? You think there's not much left for Kell Brook?
No, but I think if Josh Kelly beats Ray Robinson, that's a really good indicator of something. For example, I think Ugas, who beat for example, Ugas, who beat Ray Robinson, I think beats Kell Brook, right? I'll be honest, Gary, Kell Brook, Ray Robinson, that's a tough fight to pick in my opinion. I might pick Kell Brook, but that's a tough fight.
So if I asked you to rank Kell Brook among the welterweights, you'd say somewhere 15 to 20 in that range.
Yeah, probably. But his name value makes him be in contention with guys well above that ranking.
Could he beat Jeff Horn?
No.
Jeff Horn?
No, but then again, Jeff Horn's like a fucking middleweight right now. God knows what he's doing.
I'd imagine he's coming back down to 54. I would think. I don't know. Okay, I was trying to get a gauge of where you would.
Yeah, I picked
put
Jeff
Kell
Horn.
Brook at this point in his career.
But for example, I picked Kell Brook to beat Amir Khan.
Okay. There you go.
Another matchup, Gary. Just because we're on this road, Sergey Lepinets versus Kell Brook. Who wins, in your opinion?
Listen, that's just a tough son of a bitch.
Yeah, he is. He beat Lamont Peterson down. Beat him into retirement.
I think Kell Brook, I just don't know he's skilled enough to match Kell Brook for skill. I'll take Kell Brook without any confidence at all. I would take Brook by close decision. I think.
Damn, man. Lebanon's gonna find you.
Just send me location.
Would you take Kell Brook to beat Alessandro Rigaccini?
Oh, fuck yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Have you watched Rigaccini's fight on...
no, God, no. Come on, Gary. I've not watched Rigatoni fight.
It's a 90-second fight. It would take you longer to watch the fight, to find it, than to actually watch it.
Exactly, Gary. It's going to take me longer to find that fight on DAZN than it is to watch it.
Right, you can watch the fight in 90. You can watch the fight during a commercial break of your favorite show. That's how quick the fight is. And you can't watch the fight to make your old pal happy.
Okay, Gary, I'll watch it. I will watch it.
Right.
I promise. I promise. I'm sorry.
That's really all I got.
Well, thank you for the call then, Gary.
All right.
Well, guys, that's going to be it for today. Hit the like button, share the show, subscribe. Head over to patreon.com/Mixed Combat Radio. We just did a show earlier today. I should say, I did a show earlier today because Rob's on vacation at an apple orchard. Foo's off on a rollerblading seminar, I guess. I don't know. Whatever he does. And I'm here giving you guys content. So hit the like button, share the show, like I said. Find me, Matt Hunter, MCR, all social media platforms. What else? Final thoughts? Pay-per-view is trash. Always. But especially right now for this fight. Because Mikey Garcia, Danny Garcia does not deserve to have a $75 price tag attached to it. That's just a fucking crime. It is. It's a crime against the fans, a crime against the consumers. It should not be happening. What else? What else do we have? Richard Commey fighting. Ray Beltran should be a good fight. That was about it. It wasn't a lot. Deontay Wilder's, quote, big announcement. Cool. But if you want more content, again, patreon.com/Mixed Combat Radio. Have a great day, great night, wherever you're listening. Hit the like button, like I said, share the show. Peace.
Stay off the weed. That's stupid. Use your common sense.
You piece of shit. I'm gonna fucking kill you. I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you.
Everybody's on steroids. The whole UFC, everybody.
You know, they're selling you all wolf tickets, people. You're eating them right up.
I am Phil. I'm very Phil.
Hey, pussy, are you still there?